fact.
Before we get this podcast started, we want to let you in on a little something. If you shop on Amazon like, I don't know, everybody, instead of going straight to Amazon.com to do your shopping, do your friends at Polititainment a favor. You see, Polititainment.net is an Amazon partner. So here's what that means if you want to shop on Amazon. Instead of going to Amazon.com directly, go to Polititainment.net. You'll see an Amazon banner at the top of the page. You click on that banner, and it takes you to Amazon. You buy stuff like always, but a portion of everything you buy goes to Polititainment. Shop on Amazon and help us grow at the same time. Again, just go to Polititainment.net and click on the Amazon banner at the top of the page. Now, enjoy the show.
We don't want to cause no fuss. Yeah, we just want a little revolution. We don't want to spill no blood. Yeah, we just need a little revolution.
Two hosts that are different from those that aren't so different. It's Angie. It's Paul. It's real, serious nonsense.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for showing up. We appreciate it. I have decided that for this podcast, I'm going to try to be even more Southern than usual just to offend people. Do you think that'll be fun?
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. How do you do more Southern than what you got going on right now?
I don't know. I really don't think it's possible unless I talk about drinking tea and stuff. In between every single segment, I'm going to say some kind of Southern thing that other people might not know about.
You could be like all those damn Kermit memes.
I don't know what they are.
You don't know the Kermit, the ones where he's always drinking tea, but that's none of my business?
No, I have never seen this.
Oh, come on. It's like
I
thought they were cute at first, and then I don't know where it's from. I guess it's from the new Muppets movie because I've never seen it before, but it's a thing. Look it up.
Okay. Is this on the same level as you not knowing Lola by the Kinks? I don't think it's the same level of oh my god, you don't.
It's much worse. Much worse.
It is not. It's not worse than that. Don't lie. You're lying.
It is. The Kermit memes are much more popular these days than whoever these kinky people are.
That is such a lie. You just called the Kinks the kinky people. That's funny.
That'd be a great name though if they kind of did a collaboration with the Village People though, wouldn't it?
Well, that would probably no.
Hey, that kind of leads into one of our first subjects, right? That's a pretty good transition. Hey, I like it.
Which one?
The Village People.
Oh, yeah, that leads right into gay marriage. Okay, before we talk about this, I just have to say, as an overall, all the little things that have come down out of the Supreme Court, I have to say the best thing of this entire week has been Scalia's dissents. He has the best use of the English language I have ever heard in my life.
This is shocking because I don't ever prepare for shows or anything. I actually read the entire 103 or 106 pages of the Supreme Court ruling on same-sex marriage, the whole thing, front to back.
You read the whole thing?
Yes, I did.
I'm so proud of you. I have to admit, I have not read the whole thing yet. In my defense, I've had issues this weekend with vision, being able to actually see. So that kind of causes some issues.
This is 2015.
Yeah, but when you are not usually used to doing that, that's not something you're going to think of. But I get migraines. And I had a severe one over the weekend, and it caused some vision issues. So I'm actually not as prepared as usual. Not saying that I'm usually prepared, but I'm a little less prepared, other than the stuff that I already know. So, it's gonna be an interesting show since you're gonna be the authority on what was actually said and done and the details person.
Well, the problem is I have a terrible memory. So this was I read it on Friday. I was actually waiting for an appointment, and I read about half of it, and I read the other half. I mean, it's 103, 106 pages, but it seems like there's a lot of not very many words on each page. I mean, really, if you're reading, it's like a chapter or two of a book ultimately. But it was
Sometimes I
fantastic.
wish that people could see like our chat messages back and forth, like during the day, the kind of stuff that you say. Like I knew when you were reading this because here's how you do. You think that I'm reading the same thing apparently, and you'll just comment on some kind of random thing out of it. You're like, oh my god. And then whatever it is, you'll type it in there, and you'll give me your commentary on what you're reading at the moment. And sometimes I have no clue what you're reading or talking about. I always think that's fun.
Yeah, and
That's one
because
of my
when I
favorite
read
things
something, I'm
about it.
excited. I never read anything, so I was very proud that I read this entire thing because I just the way people were saying, how it was making it challenge states' rights in the in the
Yes,
um, in the affirmation or whatever you call it. See, I don't even know confirm. What do they call the top half of it? I guess the ruling.
there is. Yeah, there's
Whatever.
the ruling, and then there's the dissent.
Yeah, I got the dissent down, but yeah, I mean during the ruling, um, yeah, it did. Um, and some of it, I sometimes I really do think I have ADD. I'm not one of those people that claim that I know I do because I've never been tested for it. But my mind does kind of wander, so I have to go back and read certain sections of it. And they did. See, I saved some of the passages here, and I don't know where they're at. Awesome. Anyway, that's how well my prep works for me. Um, I think that I do think that they focused more in the ruling. They focused more on saying it was a civil rights issue as opposed to they talked about the state issue and if one state recognizes it, all the states need to recognize it. But I don't think that wasn't the meat and potatoes of the argument ultimately.
I don't think it was the meat of the argument, but it's an accidental consequence of the argument. I think that is gonna cause litigation. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be an issue. Here's the thing that I have problems with, and I think that there's a lot of people like us. Like I don't have a problem with gay marriage. It doesn't bother me at all, as long as we have protections for the church. The thing that I have a problem with is the way that this one was ruled on. I agree more with the dissents and the problems that it's going to cause, and I do think that they have opened up a can of worms in the states' rights issues
Yeah,
of things.
another thing they were trying to claim too in the confirmation. I don't know what the actual term for it is. I read the thing. I didn't read the header. Uh, they said that. Damn. See, I got off track there. You said something and it made me think. It made me. I'm like, ooh, I have a good point here, and then I forgot.
In the ruling where we're talking about the states' rights problem of it, and like I just don't see I don't see how people, as long as the church is protected, I don't really have a problem. But I do have a problem. I think that eventually the whole churches are going to become bakeries, and they continue to push the states. Do states have the right to do certain things or not? They're continuing to push on that, and I think that they're going to open up a small can of worms unintended. They're going to have
Oh,
some problems.
I figured it out. They talked a lot about public discourse, saying that public discourse has had the chance, run its course to solve the problem, and it hasn't. Which is actually not true. You consider this has really just started in the last 10. It's been maybe a little over a decade that this has actually been in public discussion. So and to think
Right.
that in the last decade that so many states passed it on their own, and then there were so many other things overturned. I mean, I think it was 34 or 37 states already had it legalized essentially, and now now they're saying, well, that this public discourse isn't working. Well, when you went from 0 to 37 states in just 10 years, that's pretty impressive. I mean, that's showing where the ball's rolling. So the Supreme Court kind of, I mean, my problem with it, as far as the ruling goes, is I think the problem would have solved itself ultimately and just let it be. They don't need to be there. I don't think civil rights are being violated, and I think that I don't remember whose opinion it was. Somebody made a great point saying that this isn't necessarily civil rights because marriage is not a right. Marriage isn't really not being able to get married is it's not really hindering in your freedoms. Now, once again, I actually support gay marriage. I wish it would have came about a different way. I think the argument's stupid. I would wish that this whole thing would just go away. But yeah, that was I don't remember whose dissent that was because
I
like I
don't
said, I didn't.
remember either. I remember I remember that Robert said something that I found interesting, though, in his dissent. He said, that they have been very successful in changing the hearts and minds of people. I mean, they had however many states already making it legal, and now they're taking away that opportunity to change the public discourse, to change opinions when they have been very successful at changing opinions in a lot of states. Why would you go and force it on the other states that have not reached that point yet? That it's a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal to tell a state when there's nothing in the Constitution, there's nothing in the Constitution about marriage. And these states had gone through and made specific, laws defining marriage in their state. You're telling that state that they don't have the right to do that. And I just, that's just not okay. It's not.
Yeah, it says very clearly in the 10th Amendment. I mean, I know people always hammer that, but it's true. Any powers not granted by the Constitution go to the states, unless the power is
Yeah.
actually given to the feds by the states, which isn't going to happen. This is just a prime example of, once again, them. It seemed more like everybody kind of got caught up in the whirlwind. I don't know. I think they wanted to be a part of it. I'm surprised Roberts didn't side with the other five, but
I think that he has some serious issues. Like this dude has like a personality disorder or something because everything that he wrote in his dissent kind of contradicted everything that he wrote in his affirmation for the Obamacare ruling,
well,
which I'm trying to decide.
in some respects.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
In some
I
respects,
felt like
I don't.
his logic, the logic that he used to justify one is the same logic he used to say that the other is wrong. I mean, he
think
just
the consistency in Roberts. Hold on. Sorry, I had to cough. The consistency in Roberts' statements is that he really just doesn't want to make any waves. He just wants to be whatever's easier.
I think that his overlying conclusion and the thing that drives him the most is he is trying not to be an activist judge. He thinks that judges shouldn't make laws, so he's trying to make, if Congress pass a law, he wants to try to make that law work. I think that is his idea with Obamacare. Like that's what he's thinking. But by his logic and the way he's going about it, he actually is becoming what he doesn't want to be, which is weird.
The logic was absolutely terrible on the Obamacare ruling. And once again, I think we've discussed this before and even on the show, where we said we thought overturning the subsidies was a terrible idea. I think that it pins, it pins people into bad positions on the right, especially when this gets overturned. Now, that being said, the reason for not overturning it, because words don't actually mean what they say, is the dumbest damn thing I've ever heard.
I agree. It's just insane. But I have to say, out of the two rulings, Scalia made them awesome just by his little things. Which do you like best? Okay, let's play a game, and you guys can tweet us. Tweet me at artist_Angie and let me know what was your favorite Scaliaism. I guess it would be. I can't decide for me. I really like to ask the nearest hippie, but I think I'm going to go with jiggery pokery was my favorite thing out of his dissensions.
Ask the nearest hippie is the greatest. Just the whole statement, because I actually have that right here. Because I did save that to send, when I sent it to you, and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm busy. Stop sending me crap. Just because you're reading once doesn't mean you need to throw it in my face. The nature of marriage, and so this was a quote from the majority opinion. The nature of marriage is through its enduring bond, two persons together can find other freedoms, such as expression, intimacy, and spirituality. And then in parentheses, he says, really? Whoever thought that intimacy and spirituality, whatever that means, were freedoms? And if intimacy is one would think freedom of intimacy is abridged in marriage rather than expanded. Ask the nearest hippie. That just whole statement is phenomenal. Like,
I think I would really enjoy him. Like, I would be great friends with him. He's very funny.
If I could get him to be reincarnated in a younger person's body, I would totally be whatever gender that makes me to be with him. That would be fantastic. This statement is the greatest.
I wasn't saying I wanted to be with him intimately.
You can't be. He's mine. Back off.
I was just saying that we would be like really good friends. I think he's funny. Not as funny as you apparently, because that's hilarious.
And I think he makes a good point. I think that marriage kind of it takes away potential intimacy, right? I think that there is really a majority of gay people somewhere that is just kind of like really pissed off. So there's this group of gay people because there's in these states that hadn't accepted gay marriage. Like, oh, I'm sorry, honey, we can't get married. It's not the law. And the moment this law passed, they're like, son of a bitch. You ruined the good thing I had going. So I mean, like ultimately, that's like if it's like one of the those bro rules. Now, whether it's the gay guys that follow the bro rules or lesbians, I don't care who follows the rules. Somebody got screwed by that ruling and does not agree with it, and they secretly have to go along. Like, oh yes, honey, I do love Twilight. Right? It's like that kind of thing.
That is so funny. I never thought of it that way. Somebody else I saw, who was it? Oh, it was Red Steez on Twitter. He said, okay, whatever, he was kind of like, whatever you think about the ruling, gay divorce court is going to be awesome. Like, that's just going to be. Can you imagine? It really is going to be good. They need to make a show of it, like, right now. They need to go ahead and make, like, get some contracts signed.
California is the perfect place for that.
Yeah, they probably should have, but can you imagine though? All right, now think about it really. Southerners, I am one, so I get to say this. We are like flamboyant, crazy people. Can you imagine like two like redneck gay people decide to go on divorce court? Like that's gonna be some serious TV right there. Because I don't know if this is for you northerners who don't understand the southern thing. We don't hide our crazy people. Like we let the crazy stuff shine. We don't worry about it. We're not concerned about it. We just let that go, okay? And so this is another thing. You know how Walmart, like I'm sitting here talking about our crazy people and southern people. We are the Walmart customer, basically. And you know how they didn't want to like bake the Confederate flag cake? I'm thinking that's like the worst marketing scheme ever on the planet. We're not going to bake Confederate flag cakes. You just like alienated 100% of your customer base, basically.
Absolutely.
Because
I was shocked when
the people from Walmart.
I was shocked when Walmart's like, we're not going to sell the Confederate flag. Like, really? That's like the worst thing ever for Walmart to be one of the first ones to come out against selling the flag. Just
If
insane.
you have ever been on People of Walmart, okay, that is like at least 40% of the South. People of Walmart, 40% of the South right there. You just alienated your whole base. We don't care about it. We just we let it be. I mean, if we are getting ready to go out and your grandma wants to go to Walmart with you and she wants to wear sweatpants and some kind of crazy hat with the propeller on top, you're like, okay, grandma, let's go. You just let it be. You don't argue with that. You do not argue with that, and you just let that be. And I think that Walmart has made a big mistake in that.
Yeah, Walmart is the one place that should sell the flag, and they should actually fly the flag outside the store because that's just the place to go. The town I grew up in, I think I probably said before, had about 200 to 300 people in it. We didn't have a Walmart. The nearest Walmart was 25 miles away, but that Walmart was a big freaking deal.
It was. I remember. I grew up in a really small town too. We had when I lived there, we had one stoplight. I think they have 3 now, but we had one when I lived there. And Walmart went in the town over from us. It was about 15 minutes away, and it was like the biggest deal in the world. They're like, "Oh my goodness, we got Walmart!" It's the biggest thing, and so I just can't understand. And even now, like in the South, it's not just Walmart, it's the Walmart. Everybody I know in the South puts the word "the" in front of Walmart. They're like, we're going over to the Walmart, or whatever.
It'd be like Coke. They could open another store that's exactly like Walmart with a different name. Let's say, Kmart's been around for a while, but let's say there's a new store. Like a new soda comes around. People call it Coke. They'd call that other store Walmart too, because that's just, it's kind of like the store. That's it.
That's true, because even in that little small town where I lived at, even if you were going somewhere else, they're like, run over to the Walmart and pick up, Kleenex, whatever it is. Even if you went somewhere else, you were told to go to the Walmart. So that's just how it is. That's so true. That's funny. That's hilarious. Well, let's talk about this Confederate flag thing for a minute.
So
Okay.
let me just say I lived in Charleston for 5 years in case anybody's forgotten. So I'm familiar with the area. I'm familiar with the people. Go on.
Okay. Well, I don't want to like say where I grew up at, but let me just say that I grew up 15 minutes away from like some pretty historic Civil War kind of things. And there is a huge deal. There is a Civil War reenactment. It's like a huge giant deal that goes on in this place like every year. So I know a little bit about the Civil War. And I would just like to say that this whole idea, like, yes, part of the Civil War was fought about slavery, but there were some big deals that went on that weren't about slavery, and a lot of it was about states' rights. And at least I know for a fact that North Carolina and Tennessee and Virginia and Arkansas did not even want to be part of the original whole secession thing. South Carolina started the secession, and when the whole Battle of Fort Sumter began, they felt like that Lincoln had overstepped his bounds by trying to get people to fight and push down the Southern Rebellion because they felt like South Carolina had the right to succeed if they wanted to. And that's when I know for a fact North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and Arkansas joined the Civil War. So I would just like to say that, yes, there were factions that were about slavery, but everything was not about slavery. Some of it was about states' rights, and some of it was about Fed overriding the states. That being said, I do not like and I have never liked the Confederate flag. I think it's ugly. I'm sorry, as a designer, it's ugly.
It's ugly.
It's just
I
not.
agree.
It's ugly. It's ugly.
I've grown up around the flag, and I honestly have grown a large distaste for the flag just because how prevalent it is and how ugly it is. Prior to a week ago, I did not like the flag at all.
Agree. And there is, yes, the flag has been taken over by hate groups. Yes, this crazy person had a picture of him with the flag and went and shot people. That does not mean that that flag stands for that everywhere. And I can honestly say in the South, a lot of people do not think that it stands for racism. I understand, and I've actually always been a supporter. If the state decides to take it down, that is fine. And I totally get the people who think that it represents something bad. And I totally get people who associate it with ignorance and stupidity and horrible things of the past. I get it. And I don't support that. But there are people in the South who have listened to Charlie Daniels and decided that that's just a rebellious, basically, F you Northerners. You stupid Yankees, stay up there and stop messing with the South. Stop moving down here and like messing up our place after you messed up your place, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it has come to mean to a lot of people.
Yeah, I think that personally, if I lived in the state, I think that living in Florida, I have no say what happens with the South Carolina, what flags they have flying on the state house. But if I lived in all these states that had the Confederate flag flying on the state house, I would totally be against it because things flying over the state house should be that state flag, the U.S. flag, anybody that actually has jurisdiction over that area. I get that the flag should be the state house. Now, this is on a Confederate memorial since they've moved it in 2002. And if people are offended by it being on the state house grounds, I totally get that too, and I support them moving the flag. I'm not going to be adamantly, and I supported the flag being moved from the get-go. But once again, everybody kind of takes it just way too far.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but once that you have liberals saying, everybody in the South is basically a racist and that the whole war was over slavery, did it start over, a lot of that? Yes, that was one of the big components. And I don't think people can deny that. I mean, it's in a lot of the secession papers for South Carolina. It's in a lot of that. But that wasn't the entire reason.
And this wasn't
one
the
of
Confederate
the
States actual flag. This was the battle flag. This is honoring the people that fought. Nothing else.
Yes,
We're
exactly. And to say that something that was very normal at the time, slavery was something that was normal when the country was founded. It has not only ever been in the United States. It was something, I'm not saying that makes it okay. It doesn't make it okay. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing. I wish that it hadn't happened, but when are we as a country going to start moving forward and stop looking backward? What exactly does it take? It can't be erase all history and never talk about the Confederacy or the Civil War. It can't be that. I mean, I guess it can, but that would be really stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. Once again, I didn't like the flag, and now I feel like I have to defend it. They took the flag down from Fort Sumter, I think it was yesterday, which is right there
Yep.
in Charleston Harbor, which is it's not a fort that's used for anything. It's a tourist attraction, and not only is it a tourist attraction, it's a tourist attraction for people that are trying to look at Civil War history. You have to go on a boat to freaking get there. So you're not you're not just going to accidentally see this damn flag. You have to actually get on a boat and go across Charleston Harbor to an island to get to the fort. I've never actually been to the fort. I've stood at the battery and stared at the fort, going, I'm going to go to that fort one day, and I never went. But you can't see the damn flags. I argued with somebody briefly. I gave up on him because he was pointless. Because I was very. This is the one thing that I think that pissed me off the most. Was that they took the flag off Fort Sumter, because I mean it's a historical site. You say that we don't want it to be prevalent, well, and put it in a museum. Well, this is kind of like a living museum. If you're offended by looking at if you're going to feel oppressed by looking at the flag, you should feel oppressed by that big gigantic rock fort sitting there in front of you, and you might as well tear that thing down too.
And but what you said is so true. And that's like where I grew up in Virginia. And that's the same thing. Like the city that I grew up near, they have like all kinds of historical things that you can go see. And the only way you're going to see them is if you purposely go there. Like nobody's going to just drive past this little town and go, oh, I see a flag, and be all offended. You have to choose to go to a Civil War museum or a Civil War site. You're actually wanting to learn about this history. And like you said, I mean, for Fort Sumter, you have to get on a boat. You have to actually take actions in order to see it. This whole let's ban everything is just insane.
The argument from the guy on Twitter this morning was, you lost the fort. Why are we going to fly the flag over the fort that they lost? I'm like, well, I grew up very close to St. Augustine, Florida, and there's an old Spanish fort there, and they fly every freaking flag that's ever flown over that fort. The Spanish flag, the French flag. I mean, every flag that's ever had that fort, there's like 8 or 9 different flags that fly over this place because it's a historical site. Nobody's sitting in Fort Sumter waiting for anybody to invade Charleston.
And the thing is, like the way that they're just like banning everything. Eventually there's going to be illegal Mexicans that are going to be like, banning Texas state flag and stuff like that just because like they think that it's wrong and everything like that. I don't get it. These people they have literally gone insane with the bans. It's driving me insane.
They're pulling the Confederate flag out of the official gift shop at Gettysburg, and I went to Gettysburg last summer. There's freaking gift shops everywhere. So at first I heard it was going away. Everywhere I'm thinking, oh my god, every one of those shops, because it's a cute little tourist town, really. I mean, it's little fudge places. I love fudge places, candy shops. That's all I can actually remember is the fudge places. I like fudge, and that's not a tie into the gay marriage thing, by the way. I just put that thought.
I think that you're going to be in so much trouble with that since your earlier Scalea crush.
Yeah, whatever. Hey, nobody's listening to the podcast anyway. I don't care. But even so, I mean, that's like the most famous, place for Civil War history. And once again, Gettysburg is kind of far out there. It's not like, it's not just sitting there for people to drive through. You kind of have to go out of your way to get to Gettysburg. Have you been to Gettysburg?
I have never been there.
Oh,
I've never
been
there.
It's very nice.
I have been near it, but I never actually went to it.
And there's monuments there, and once again, this is in a northern state. There's monuments there for both sides.
Yeah.
talking about the lives that were lost. And once again, in Pennsylvania, they're not glorifying Southern rights. They're, even though they seceded, these states were still originally part of the freedom experiment that is America, plain and simple. And we're honoring the lives lost. We're not honoring slavery. Slavery is, unless you're into that kind of thing. Unless you're a liberal looking for racism, this is not something that crosses people's minds on a daily basis, whether you believe it or not. And now they're threatening to dig up General Lee out of Memphis. They've already renamed the park, which I don't disagree with that. But you're going to dig up the dead body of Robert E. Lee and move him.
And okay, and the whole Dukes of Hazzard things, I'm sorry, but come on. Liberals have become boss hog. It's like liberals are boss hog now. You are actually happy about like messing with the Duke boys. It is insane. I cannot believe that this is actually happening like in real life. It is not a movie. It is not like anything making fun of people. It's actually happening.
And they were talking about banning Gone with the Wind, and because they said, well, they didn't actually go to a KKK meeting in the movie, but you kind of knew that's where they were going. I've never actually seen the movie. I thought about watching the movie for the show, but I've never seen Gone with the Wind.
You have never seen Gone with the Wind?
Seriously.
Oh,
I've never seen Gone with the
my
Wind.
goodness. Okay,
You
I'm
seem
sorry,
shocked by
but you
this.
have to turn in your Southern card. You have to that is just not allowed. You cannot be Southern and not have seen Gone with the Wind. It's
I'm
like
part of the
one of
New South.
oh my goodness.
And
oh
one
my
last
goodness.
thing. One last thing about the flag. I want to say, and this, I'll try and make this as quickly as possible. The town I grew up in when I was like 5 to 10 was extremely segregated. Whites lived in one part of town, blacks lived in another. And now, granted, because I'm quite young by comparison, this was like in the late 80s, early 90s. And over time, the town changed. I remember the first black family moving to our side of town, and I became friends with this guy. And I was not allowed to stay at his house because his mom wasn't comfortable with it. Which, I mean, I can get it. The town was tense when the first person moved to the other side of town. I get it. But by the time I graduated high school, there were people driving jacked up trucks, flying a Confederate flag, listening to Ludacris.
Yeah. That yeah. I
Blasting
remember.
rap music. So please tell me how racist these people are.
So you weren't allowed to stay the night at his house because you were white?
Right.
Wow.
Oh, crazy,
Well,
right? And I'm not faulting his mom for it either. So don't hear me. I'm saying she's racist or anything. I get that things were tense. I'm just saying that I understand things were tense, and I've kind of lived through this and seen the progression. And I'm not saying this is by any means the civil rights era back in the day, but I mean, I've seen it, and I've seen things change. And people. I think most of the people in the South, white or black, most people are comfortable with the flag. Most people. There's probably a segment, of different populations. They may say take the flag down, but I think even minorities aren't screaming to take the flag down everywhere. They don't want Amazon to ban the flag. They may not want it on the State House. I get that. But, people in the South just want people to leave them the hell alone. Everybody who's crying about it is probably from New York, Chicago, or California.
Yeah, you're saying exactly what everybody in the South is saying. A bunch of freaking Yankees, go away, leave us alone. We're doing just fine.
I mean, Charleston.
It's exactly.
Charleston
Yes,
has like
like in Charleston.
has a slave market for a tourist attraction. It has the Daughters of the Confederacy building. It's one of the most famous buildings in Charleston. Are we going to tear all of that stuff down to make somebody feel better? Charleston is absolutely
They want to.
a beautiful town. I know they want to take down all the monuments, and there's tons of Civil War monuments spread all around town, and people live around that, and that's the culture of that city. No one's sitting there wanting racism. There might be 2 or 3 people. I'm not saying there's not people out there. But the majority of people, 99.8% of people, don't want slavery to come back, are happy with the way things are going and in the direction things are going. And I can tell you from working in downtown Charleston and having that area that everybody's comfortable with and they enjoy that. And that was one of the things I do miss it there. The people are fantastic. The town's great. But that's the culture, and they're proud of everything that city has been through. white or black.
Well, I think
Period.
that shows in the way that the city handled the massacre. I think that shows in the way that they handled that. They came out and talking about forgiveness, and there were people that were white, black, every color at that church for the funeral, and they didn't come out and make divisive statements from within there. I mean, that's Obama doing that from the funeral, and that is DeRay down there causing commotion. All those kind of people. But the
Yeah.
people who are actually from there came out together, trying to talk about it together.
Right.
And I think that shows the
the way it
difference
should be.
of
The
how it
town,
is in the South.
the town came together, and that's what a town like that will do. They're not sitting there. They want things to go back to the way that they were. They want to find normalcy and learn from the errors of the past. Nobody, once again, I'm sure there's a few people. Nobody is standing up for this crazy asshole
He's
that
crazy.
killed people.
He's crazy. He wanted to start a race war. He basically was Charles Manson. Charles Manson wanted to do the same thing. He just used a swastika on his head, and this guy took a picture in a Gold's Gym shirt with a Confederate flag. I mean, it's a crazy person. It's
In this
insane.
guy's manifesto, he said himself, "I cannot find anybody to help me. I must do this on my own."
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. It's crazy. And it's like, okay, so he's wearing a Gold's Gym shirt too. Are we going to ban exercise? Are we going to ban all this stuff?
He drove a Hyundai. Hyundai, the official car of racists.
Exactly.
Hyundai, I will gladly take
goodness.
your sponsorship dollars. Come on.
We need to go to break.
Brakes are overrated.
Let's go to break. Let's go to break, and then we'll do rapid fire. We'll talk about some other stuff that's been banned. I know that we both are Southern and can rant about the Confederate flag for a while, so we might do that a little bit more. We'll be back.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you.
Have a safe and happy 4th of July as we commemorate the birth of our nation. A message from the staff of K98 Talk, the leader in Internet radio.
Are you conservative in a world of liberal?
Yep.
Well, you're not alone. Hey, I'm Daniel Stafford, host of the Stafford Voice, and I'd like to invite you to tune in each Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern, where I'll break down the events of the week, and together we'll learn about how they affect you. So, sit back and get ready for the good, the bad, and the ugly of talk radio right here on K98 Talk.
Their show is just like Red Eye. If Red Eye made absolutely no sense whatsoever. Serious? No.
I feel like our entire country is getting rickrolled over the past week, 2 weeks.
This is nuts. Once again,
That's
three
exactly
things that
what
I kind of agreed with. It's just everything has just gone bananas. Period.
Exactly. And how in the world, I tell you what, I made the most middle of the road tweet and I had people jumping on me for it. So I'm like, okay, this is proof that I feel like we are living in the beginning, chapters the prequel of Atlas Shrugged, and nobody told us about it. It's like we're just in the prequel for it. And all this stuff is happening and you're like, oh no, it's I can't believe it's real life.
Yeah, you know what really pisses me off about the gay marriage thing? It's not the actual gay marriage part. The thing that pisses me off the most is all of these people that just jump on this bandwagon. Like they actually did something. They didn't. They did nothing. They're celebrating this like it's some kind of crazy win for them and making their profile pictures all these rainbows and shit. Like, over what? I mean, they didn't do anything.
It's the social justice warrior mentality. Like they really actually believe that they're changing, which I mean, they are changing things by just being whiny little babies that whine about everything, like constantly. They're always constantly offended. They're always constantly victims over everything. They want to erase history.
But the people that are putting this on their profile, a lot of them aren't social justice warriors. People are just getting on this bandwagon, which is what's scary. But just the condescension from these people to think that they know what's best. That they once again, that they had anything, if they had something to do with it, it wouldn't have took the Supreme Court. It did. You guys didn't do it. Quit acting like you were on board with this the whole time. Most of these people had nothing to do with it at all, and all they ever did was tweeted selfies of themselves with their poodle on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram 24/7, and now it was an opportunity for them to get a new selfie of themselves with a rainbow overlay. Fantastic! Ugh, it's exhausting, and that's what bothers me.
Actually, I just saw Vito. Hey, Vito, in the chat. He just said in the chat, everybody's giving credit to Obama, and he did nothing. And I agree. Like, I saw that tweet. It was like, what's her name from Victorious? I can't remember. Ariana Grande. She's like, thanks, Obama. You're the greatest. It's like, he didn't do anything. He had nothing to do with it. It's like the justices. It's those five. Was it five that voted for it? Is it those five people? It's Obama had nothing to do with it.
Exactly, and that shows you how off people are. They're not paying attention. They think Obama's going to get credit for this. He did nothing. In a lot of times, in the states that passed it on their own, it was the people and those people should celebrate. Massachusetts should celebrate, and the other states that did it, Massachusetts being the first one, they should celebrate that crap. They did it, and good for them. But damn, it took the courts. You did nothing. Obama did nothing. And they're just like railroading everything. I was, and just to see, and once again, I'm not against it, but to see places change their logos, was it Gawker who had some profanity-laced post they put on Facebook calling everybody MFers and racist MFers, this MF or that, going down the road. And then I was upset about this most because I grew up on it. Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid is celebrating gay pride. Do we really need that? Oh, yeah. I had to do it. Sorry.
That was pretty good. I'm pretty proud of that, actually. Okay, well, we're at the 15-minute mark, so do you want to kind of skip the rapid fire, or you want to go through real quick and then go to hashtag?
We can do a couple of rapid fire stories. I want to talk about this guy in the boxers thing because I'm torn on this.
Okay.
Do you see it? All right.
Yes, there's a police officer in Charleston.
North Charleston.
Yes.
There's a difference.
And he was fired because he apparently took a selfie with his Confederate flag underpants.
And posted it on Facebook. Who does that? I would fire him for being an immature dumbass.
Yeah, like, I don't care that he was fired because that's stupid. You're a police officer. You really shouldn't, as far as your character, you shouldn't be, like, putting selfies in your underpants. Boxers or whatever, that's probably not professional. So I'm not really upset that he's fired, but they, like, made it a big deal because it was Confederate flag underpants.
But I don't think this is I think, once again, this is kind of one of those things I dissent on everybody else from. I don't think this is a free speech issue. This guy has horrible taste. The fact that he posted a picture in his boxers is a problem. A big problem to me. And then the fact that less than a week after the shooting, knowing what just happened in the southern Charleston area, the peninsula area, he's in North Charleston, which is like, I mean, it's kind of like one town, but they're distinct. You got the historic area, and then you got North Charleston. I work in multi-unit retail, so I had Charleston and I had North Charleston. North Charleston is rough. So, and my company has one as well, a social media policy. So if this guy's on Facebook and doesn't say he works for North Charleston Police Department and does this crap, that's fine. But the fact that he identifies as a North Charleston, it's been less than a week since these people were brutally murdered, and I'll say this too, in this act of terror by this individual, that you're just a dumbass for multiple reasons. Good luck finding a job.
I agree. Okay. I'm not really upset that he's fired. It's another one of those things where I have like the little nuance. It's stupid that they're firing him over like because it was Confederate flag and they're given that reason. Just say, we have a social media policy. He has, he violated it. Period.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Like, period. I mean, it is a social media policy. It's not like, they don't know. I mean, any good sense would tell you this is a bad idea. If he did it a week before the shooting and they fired him, I'd have a problem with that. So, what'd you say hey for?
I was going to say, like, if they did it, that's what I was going to say. If they did it a week before the shooting, they fired him. But they would have said, that's the thing. They would have said, we have a social media policy. He was in his underwear. He's fired. They wouldn't have said, we fired him because of the Confederate flag. They're just doing it because it's a thing.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that they necessarily did. I mean, I understand that it's a sensitive time, and I don't support dumb people carrying guns in dangerous parts of town, such as North Charleston. End of story. Right. And if and I'm not sure the exact statistics, but I would say North Charleston's probably 60% black, and you are going to, you're serving people, and I think that was in their statement was that they're serving. He's serving people that are now going to question whether he has their best interest in mind. And once again, I'm not saying the Confederate flag's racist or anything, but it's just in bad taste. If you did it a week before the shooting and you got fired, that's something else. If you did it a year from now and you got fired, something else completely. It's been less than a week, dude. And you're an adult, and you're not a very attractive adult. You're not out there looking like this re-implanted Scalia or anything that I'm imagining in my mind while I eat fudge. Dude, put on some clothes. All right, we can pull a few rapid fire stories now if you'd like.
Okay, there was one story is one band that I actually may support that happened this week, and it was Disney confirming that they have banned selfie sticks from their theme parks.
Absolutely.
They said it's a safety concern. Yeah, they said it's a safety concern, but for as far as I'm concerned, I just think that's fine because it'll just like ban stupid people from standing there doing stupid things like the duck face or whatever the whole time that you're at Disney and you have to see it. So I'm okay.
I wish they would have left it legal long enough for somebody to do the selfie stick and walk right into the teacup ride and lose their lower half of their body. Maybe then America would learn that these are the types of things we need to ban. There's nothing like a bloody teacup that will get the message out.
Okay, here's the next one. Seattle had a ban. They banned fire this week for state parks and oceans. They basically said if you're camping, all campfires are off limits, even in designated fire pits. They're just over it. No fire in Seattle anymore.
But this is for dryness, though. This isn't for a global warming thing, right?
Let's see. They said it's a
dry.
Yeah, they said because it's dry and it's spreading very, very fast, so it's just no fire.
On the beach, which is sand and rock, maybe somebody should tell these people rock does not burn.
Well, they said the burn ban doesn't cover federal lands, county, or city parks. So I guess it's just certain areas that they're doing it. But I'm just like, everybody's going on some kind of ban spree this week. What's the deal? Like even fire is banned now. New York is trying to, of course, it's New York City. I mean, I'm not really that surprised, but Mayor Bill de Blasio is proposing a new rule to ban cigarette smoking even in your house, in your own house.
So where can people smoke now? They can't smoke in their car.
In New York City, I guess you can't do it anywhere.
So if you have a kid, you can't smoke pretty much anywhere because you can't smoke in your car. You can't smoke in public areas. I think even on the streets.
Yeah. Now this hasn't actually been passed yet. He's just proposing it. Apparently, it's proposed before in New York, and didn't go anywhere. But so far, it's saying that it is voluntary, but it may not last.
Side
May
note:
not last.
Can we ban those smoking commercials, please? I am sick of seeing people with holes in their throat that are missing teeth, and all these things. It's absolutely disgusting. As somebody that doesn't smoke and kind of gets the point, we shouldn't have to subject ourselves to that because 18% of the population chooses to smoke. That's all I gotta say.
And just let me say that is not that is not a place that I usually get stories from, so I'm not positive. It it might possibly, like, that just doesn't sound right to me, so maybe it's satire. What do you
What
think? It could be satire.
the smoking ban?
Yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
it's not satire. I would not use World News Daily for anything, but I mean it's New York. I would think that sometimes they may exaggerate things for principle. But the fact that when they're talking about in homes, they're saying it's rented apartments and such, saying it hurts resale value and stuff like that. That's what it said from what I read. We're in trouble if I'm the one actually reading these stories.
I was just like, you know what? I haven't actually read that story yet. Like, I just now started reading it as we're talking about it, so it kind of concerned me. I'm usually really good about saying, double checking, oh, is this satire or not? But then I start looking at it, I'm like, could that be? This is the kind of world we're living in, though, is that where you have to actually double check to see if it's satire because people are insane.
All
They're
right,
insane.
so let's do the summer public service announcements one. I'll let you read them because I don't actually have the articles open or talk about them.
Which one?
The pool water.
Summer. Oh, okay. Pool water. Apparently, there is a lot of poop and pee in your pool water, and it is making people's eyes red. It is not chlorine, apparently, anymore that makes your eyes red. It is pee.
It's
I
the
don't know what
chemicals.
to say
It's the
about that.
chemicals reacting with both of them actually, because both articles say the same thing. It's the chemical reacting with the trace feces and traces of urine that it's reacting with that because it doesn't necessarily know how to break it down. That's what's making your eyes go red. It's not the chlorine. I thought that was a great story.
Okay, we better get to our hashtag
Okay,
because we're cutting it close.
We
All
picked
right.
Liberals Next Band. Sarah started this, Founders Girl. She couldn't be here with the show with us tonight, so you're lucky you're getting the shout out at all. I'll let
Yeah,
you
she's
start.
an American woman on Twitter. She's awesome.
It's
She started
Founders.
this.
It's Founders Girl now. That's her handle.
Yeah, I know, but her name is still American Woman. Her Twitter name is that. Her at is Founders Girl.
Okay.
But she
All
started
right.
this. It's really great. I liked it. And
Yeah, it
nobody
had a lot of
picked up on
lot of play, and nobody else covered it. It was
it
was stupid.
trended for 2 days and nobody else covered it. I was
It
offended.
trended. Yeah, it trended until the Obamacare ruling came down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was offended for her. Anyway, go follow her. She's awesome. All right. My first pick, I actually picked mine this week, by the way. This is me picking them, not poll picking them for me. Texas guy at Collins DW. The word y'all is emanated from the South, and well, you know how they are. So, Liberals Next Band, they think they're going to get rid of the word y'all. And just to tie into last week, they are already trying to get rid of hey guys. So, why not y'all?
2 weeks ago, we took last week off. All right, Liberals Next Band.
Okay,
Sean,
shut up.
Sean underscore A. One of the first people I associate with on Twitter. Sean is great.
He's
Next band,
awesome.
Ice. Because when it turns black is when most people have a problem with it.
Okay, at Cranky Gordon, who is awesome also. Liberals Next Band, trigger words, like trigger and words.
Yeah, I like that one. How do you say this? I don't know how to say her name. Barbie? Is that her name? Mrs. Libertas?
I think it's Libertas, yeah.
Well, that's not her handle.
Logie.
Anyway, next band, Dixie Cups. They promote both global warming and mass shootings. Social
I
justice
did one
BOGO.
like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. That's a good one. All right, Politibunny. Clearly, Roof had a bad haircut. Ban bowl cuts. Liberal Next Band.
And then I followed
That
that one
made me
up with artist underscore Angie. We need to take it back to the most well-known use of the bowl cut and banned the Three Stooges because Mo was obviously a racist.
That's true. Mo was so racist.
And that got not enough love. That only had 10 retweets. It was horrible.
I know. That was sad. AG Texas, liberals next band, Black Holes. That cracked me up. I think that's hilarious.
This kind of seems to tie in with the whole Scalia fudge thing. Founder's Girl. American Woman. Outdoor Recess. I heard a kid got scraped knees once.
That's awesome. Okay, Sean A., who made it on here twice apparently. Liberals expand questions about their racist past. Our revisions are all the history you'll ever need. I like that because he's talking about, we're not going to be able to ask questions about their history anymore. They're just trying to get rid of history altogether.
Politibunny, The Love Boat, because it was on the right after the Dukes of Hazzards in the 80s, and we all know what that means.
And then Deep South Proud, Game of Thrones. There needs to be more a diverse group of White Walkers.
And finally, Lizzie Lou Who. She's on here every week for good reason. Liberals next band, Chess. What if the white pieces beat the black ones?
And I have an honorable mention. It's D-Boy Z22. He replied to one of mine about conservatives making jokes on Twitter for the Liberals next band, and he said they're going to ban you if you don't change your bio, which cracked me up because if you don't know, my bio says that I'm like Scarlett O'Hara and Carol Burnett had a baby, and so Gone with the Wind reference and very Southern and conservative. So it's very likely I could get banned just for my bio. I like that. All right, who you want to win?
I want Sean's Ice one to win.
Okay, I'm for that. That's good. Sean's Ice one definitely can win. That was good. I almost picked that one.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm glad you didn't because
Sean,
I did pick them first. So.
Would you have maybe pick a different one?
What?
Like
yes.
Would you maybe pick a different one?
I would have picked another one just to throw you off.
Yeah, and then I would have been reading it, and I would have been like, did I pick this? Did I really pick this? I don't remember picking this. But I wouldn't have questioned it. I would have been like, well, I guess I did. That's weird.
And that's
how...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was getting off topic.
I was just going to say that's how insane that I am. Like, I would just assume that I picked it and just forgot about it.
Oh, that would have worked out well. I just want to make a quick note, too. I know that before the show started, because I get here about 10 minutes early, Slickery Triggers said that Wednesdays are empty since Bunny has taken the summer off. I just want to because he apparently didn't know that Jason was on Wednesdays. I'm not sure. Is he on at 9 now?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, according to me, at 9 o'clock on Wednesday, so it can help fill the Bunny void, and that has nothing to do with Scalia. So.
And stick around after us is the Stafford voice. Daniel Stafford is wonderful. And on Tuesday nights, let's see, it's The Right Angle with Bill and Leslie at 9. And they're awesome. So actually just all at K98, they have good shows like all during the week. Vito and Vito aren't. I'm not sure what night they're on, though. I apologize.
Yeah, they've expanded quite a bit, and they've got some great talent. So
catch you later. We won't be here next week because it's the 4th of July. Week after.
Maybe.
Not good.